could do that. I don't care what you say.
So many of you may already know that the SFL, the Simulation Football League, just rolled over 20 seasons, which is a pretty big accomplishment. Great community, just actually got involved with some of them. And I know that they're kind of thinking or leaning towards shifting over from 2K8 into NFL 2K4. And I know the way that the mods that we've done them, it's always been an add-on to 2K23. So I figure if more people from this community are going to be looking to load the NFL 2K4, it'd probably be better to have a standalone installer. So I had some time. I put together a standalone installer for NFL 2K4, which is the 4K23 mod that RateSports kind of took on and put together for himself. So I'm going to show you how to go ahead and load that. So if you're still playing NFL 2K23 and want to just have it as a GME add-on, I package everything up because there was a patch that was released. So it's R1.1. You'll see here. So if you just want to add this onto your existing NFL 2K23 installation, you'll download the add-on. It'll be a zip package. You'll just extract it, move the mods folder and the textures and everything. There's details in there on how to do that stuff. But for anybody that wants to have it as a standalone installation, you can now download the standalone installation, and we'll go through that here. So you come here to the repo. I'll put a link in the description for you. You download this package. I already have it. Let's go ahead and go here. So once you have it, you're going to extract it. And just come into the folder. The guide's in here. It'll take you through. Again, this is the first time we're doing anything like this where we're going to do a standalone. But I think it's good for people that don't necessarily want to have all of the texture mods and want to just focus on one or the other. So that'll be there for you to help take you through it. But we'll run the setup exe. And then it's just like the other one. You're going to accept the agreement. There's some notes in there. Big thing to point out and remind everyone that you're going to have your own BIOS and your own game disk ISO for 2K4. So that's on you to get. Next here, this just gives you a little bit of details. Next again, this is where you're going to install the directory. So I recommend putting on your C disk or whatever main directory drive you're going to use. But again, this is really at your discretion. It's up to you. So I'm going to put it on my C disk. So I'm just going to clean that up and say next. I want to create desktop shortcuts. I would absolutely enable that. Next, it's just a little summary. Install. Let this thing finish installing. Alright, so once that's done, I would uncheck this. Don't launch it yet. Just click finish from here. So now we're going to see we have those two icons that landed on our desktop. I'm just going to move them here so we can see them. First thing I would do is I would launch the GME utility. So the 4K23 mods, go ahead and launch this. You want to launch it because the first time it runs, it's going to set that file path, which is needed. It's not critical, but you want to do that. So in here, cleaned up, this is everything that is available as a GME. Lots of uniforms, lots of other stuff in here. So you pick what you want, you just enable it. I play with Xbox, so I would do that. The Fox Network's cool. I'll load those ones. When you're prompted with this in the GME tool, just say yes. It's just letting you know that there's files there that exist. You're going to overwrite those textures. Close out of that. And then you're going to open the file location or open the directory, the install directory. And then from here, now this is where you're going to have to provide your own BIOS and game disk ISO. So it comes empty, but it is pre-configured. So once you drop your BIOS in here and you load up, the settings are going to be set. The memory card is going to be set, everything. So I already have this prepped. I'm just going to copy this into here. All right, I'm going to leave this directory open here. So I'm going to go ahead and launch it. Shift this over. So we're going to jump into settings first. And we're going to go right to graphics. You're going to set this to whatever the render is for yours. If you're running AMD, set it to whatever your hardware is. I'll set mine. Memory cards, you'll see that it's already preloaded for you. And this, again, big thanks to Gillboldberg and everybody else that's worked on it to put the roster together. Him and Rate did a really good job with this. All right, so once we have that set. Now, because this is a separate standalone installation from 2K23, reminder, if you want to have those Berman halftime show highlights, you're going to have to create that 40 gig VHDD in order for it to work. If not, the game will play normal and you just won't have video highlights, you'll have stills. But a lot of people are probably going to want to have that. So that's one thing that I pointed out that you're going to have to kind of take that in consideration. If you're playing all the mods like NCAA College, 4K23, 2K 5 and everything, you're probably going to have it just consolidated into one. But for this, let's jump into the network HDD. You're going to enable this here. You're going to browse. All right. And we're going to go to the VHDD directory that's in our installation directory. Say save. This way it forces that path. We want that. Then you're going to create the image. So just keep in mind that you're going to need 40 gigs. It's going to be chewed up by this. So, and I recommend keeping it all in the same installation directory. Obviously, I don't think anyone's going to be running on old spin disk, but if you are, you might want to take into consideration you probably want to put it on SD, an SSD, or an M2 card or something that's going to have a little bit better input-output performance for you. Alright, cool, so it's done. So we'll okay that. And we can close out of here. Oh, one other thing too. I'm going to close out of here, but you're going to want to go into controllers, and you're going to want to go to controller 1. You're going to want to just map whatever your controller is that you're using, whether it's PlayStation or Xbox, because I do flip my bumpers, and I do that on purpose so I can do recordings. So yes, I absolutely recommend you come in and remap your controller. Before we do the formatting of the VHDD, we're going to go to Add Game Directory. So I'm just going to click on this. And in our installation directory, I moved my game disk ISO into here. So I'm going to select that folder. And we're going to say yes to this because we want to scan that directory. And then we're going to see it also has the ULE, but it also has the game disk ISO because I moved that into here, or I copied it. All right, so this is set. So next we're just going to format that disk. So we're going to fast boot the ULE 438. And for anybody that's loaded any other mods, this is going to be pretty straightforward, familiar territory. If you need to reference anything, just go into the documents. We're going to go O and miscellaneous, and then we're going to go HDD manager. And once it's in here, you're just going to trigger, and you're going to go to format and say OK. So if you get to this point and it freezes, a couple people in the community say, hey, it freezes, it doesn't do anything, like I don't know what's going on, chances are you're probably using like a Japan or some other BIOS. So if you're downloading it, I mean, you do what you need to, but make sure you have a US BIOS. Me, I'm using version 2.0. That's just the one that I use. So from here, we can just shut down because it's formatted at that point. And then we can right click, we can launch the game now, we can get into it, you can play. So from here, you're good. You can fast boot, and then once you get into the game, you'll load up the rosters that are on there. We'll get to that point here in just a minute. All right, so once we're loaded up here, just go to load save, and you're familiar with this load. Say yes, and you'll see this memory card has the roster. I believe it's the latest one that Rate cleaned up. Him and Gillboldberg worked on this together. So there's settings here if you want to use that. It's totally up to you. But at this point, you're ready to go. The game's ready. And hopefully this helps everyone out, especially the SFL community who's going to be looking to transition. So hopefully this works out for everybody. And let's close this down. Shut down. And again, one more thing too. So this is just going to be standalone. It's going to be just for this particular instance for anyone that wants it. And just to note that because this all these mods have been done on the in development 1.7. This is still baselined by the 2868 version that I baselined the entire mod set on, only because it's the best experience that I've found. Now I've upgraded it, and there's been mixed, it's been mixed for me. The experience is different. The graphics were weird. There was some just strange things that happened. Most recently, I think some of the newest ones, there was some weird anomalies with textures not showing properly. But just keep in mind, if you're playing this and you want to upgrade it, you kind of move into territory that you're going to have to figure out on your own, because everything that I'm supporting right now is the 2868 baseline build that I've put this out on. But it's not to say that you can't use newer versions. And if you did want to upgrade, you would just come to settings here. Interface, sorry. So it's under interface, and then you would go check for updates. So if I say check for updates, so it's going to tell me, okay, so the baseline build that I put this mod together on is the 1.7 2868. From June of 22. So the latest version is 174110. So really, if you upgrade, I mean, just follow along with the notes, see what's changed. But before you do this, remind me later because I don't want to do that. But if you're going to upgrade, I recommend making a backup of your directory before you upgrade, because once you do, you're kind of locked in. But again, not to worry, because if you do and you want to go back to it, you can rerun the installer here. But you just have to keep in mind that anything you have saved on your mem card, any progress or anything like that, you just want to pull that out before you put it back in. And then if you don't want to play this mod anymore and you want to scrub the whole thing from your machine, you can go to the installation directory. And if you scroll down to the very bottom here, you're going to see on install. It'll be on UNINS 000EXE. So you just run this as administrator, and it's going to remove everything. The only thing that's going to be left over in the directory is going to be anything that you put in here. So I had some mods loaded and stuff like that. I did create the VHDD, so that's going to have a 40 gig raw file in there that'll have to get scrubbed. But I don't know, my disk is a little slow here. But so I'm going to go back to C, and so there is a little bit of cleanup, but you can completely remove it. So I'm going to trash this because I don't need it anymore. I'm going to shift delete it because it's got the 40 gig in there. So this is it. It's standalone. It's available. If you jump in the community, you see that I posted about it too. You can download from there, or you can come to the repo. You'll find it here and download it. So hopefully this helps everybody out, and have fun playing. And I'm interested to see how the SFL, how their next season goes and how that migration goes for everybody. So great community over there. I'm going to put a bunch of links in the description so you can check them out. If you're not familiar with them, most of you probably are already. So, all right, everyone, have fun playing the mod, and take care.